Ever since I put out my story based on the ever so popular Five Nights at Freddy's, there has been mixed response to the notion of whether or not Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a prequel. Some are trying to tell me I'm wrong, and others are applauding me for putting the hints together. Well, here's the way I piece things together to reach such a conclusion. I'm not telling you what to think, and feel free to try correct me, but things are just too conclusive for me. To start, on day 3 we hear,
I wanted to ease your mind about any rumors you might have heard lately. You know how these local stories come and go and seldom mean anything. I can personally assure you that whatever is going on out there, however tragic it may be, has nothing to do with our establishment. It's just all rumor and speculation, people trying to make a buck, you know.
So, we're told there are rumors being spread about this place. This is our first clue. On day 4, the phone guy says,
there's been somewhat of an investigation going on. We may end up having to close for a few days, I don't know. I want to emphasize, though, that it's really just a precaution. Fazbear Entertainment denies any wrongdoing.
These rumors have been turned into an investigation? The phone guy is obviously trying to play something down. Well, Five Nights at Freddy's is known to vaguely tell the story in a chopped up order, so let's move on to the next day. When you receive your next call on day 5, you hear this.
Keep a close eye on things tonight, okay? From what I understand, the building is on lockdown. No one is allowed in or out, you know, especially concerning any previous employees. When we get it all sorted out, we may move you to the day shift. A position just became available.
So, now we know that the day shift guy has been in trouble and is no longer working at the establishment. Well, let's look at the last day and see if we can put something together.
Someone used one of the suits. We had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it.
So, the day shift guy is missing, as well as one of the mascot suits. During the missing children incident, which is told in the first game, we're told that, according to the police, a man dressed up as one of the restaurant's mascots to lure the children away. It's safe to assume, with good reason, that the man who took the children was the day shift guy. It's implied that the animatronics like kids. It's a given, since seemingly the only time they aren't violent is when they're performing. This can be backed up by the quote in Day 4's call.
They interact with the kids just fine, but when they encounter an adult, they just stare.
So now we can put together that the missing children incident possibly happened during Five Nights at Freddy's 2. But we can go deeper. During night 6, you're told,
we have one more event scheduled for tomorrow, a birthday. You'll be on day shift. Wear your uniform. Stay close to the animatronics and make sure they don't hurt anyone, okay?
After the 6th day, you're paid and you see a newspaper clipping. It quotes, "After being open only a few short weeks, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is closing its doors." You'll notice that you're paid on the 13th of November, 1987. Fans of the game will know of the infamous Bite of 87 incident, referenced in the first game, in which one of the animatronics bit someone so hard it took off their frontal lobe. I hope this is all added up in your heads as we speak, but here's where things start to tie up. The children kidnapping happens. It is the cause of investigation, but not the full closure of the establishment. It's something that can't be pinned on the establishment 100%, so it's really just a reputation loss, but not deemed extensive enough for instant closure of the store. However, an animatronic biting someone's frontal lobe is. It's obviously a safety hazard, and something that is tied to the company. Why would one of these animatronics bite someone in the middle of the day? Well, I propose that the animatronic in question knew it was the day shift guy who took the 5 kids. They'd obviously see the investigations happening in the restaurant, and it's not hard to assume that the police wouldn't have discrepancy issues talking about investigation details in front of a lifeless mascot. One of the robots knew what happened and acted on it. However, the day shift guy wasn't there anymore. He was replaced with you. You were on that day shift, and you were specially instructed to be near them at all times. You were the victim of the bite of 87, leading to the closure of the new Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. But, you may ask, how is there a next installment if they closed? Well, if you look at the newspaper clipping again, it's quoted from the CEO of Fazbear Entertainment. "We are confident that the store will reopen someday, even if it is with a much smaller budget." Now, where would be the best place to relocate, which is smaller and is equipped to hold these hostile automatons? How about the old place? In day 5 it's mentioned.
We're going to try to contact the original restaurant owner. I think the name of the place was Fredbear's Family Diner or something like that.
It can be assumed that the start of the game's relocation can be due to the expansion of the restaurant. So now we have a smaller location, good for a place to go back to with a now smaller budget. Also bear in mind that a lot of the issues in the first game, such as the technology and power, was blamed on a smaller budget. But what about the new animatronics? Toy Bunny, Toy Chica, the marionette, etc. Well, going back to the newspaper clipping once more, it reads, "The new animatronics will be scrapped due to possible malfunctions. However, the original characters are being kept in hopes of a possible reorganization of the company." This explains why the newer models don't feature in the original game. As for how the older models look newer than the supposed prequel, it was stated that the older classic ones were kept around for parts, as quoted here.
By now I'm sure you've noticed the older models sitting in the back room. Those are from the previous location, and we just use them for parts now.
This also references the older place. But he goes on to say,
"They even started retrofitting them with some of the newer technology."
This explains how they can act like their newer predecessors during Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Tell me if something doesn't add up, but to me it seems pretty conclusive. I'm not blaming anyone who thinks Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a sequel, because it really does throw some convincing misdirection at the player, such as claiming the location is a new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. This is technically true, but it wasn't relocated after Five Nights at Freddy's 1. Or how the characters featured in the first game are all broken and incomplete in the prequel. Without my prior explanation, this is visually one of the main things people bring up to claim Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is a sequel. But who knows, we may visit the previous location in another prequel.